What if we as a nation came to realize that the quest for empire eventually destroys all great nations?
Hey, welcome back everyone. I am Matt Larson, and yesterday I had the privilege and honor of interviewing a great family about a not so great subject. As we all know, previously this week on Monday I talked about how there was this 5-month-old infant that was taken from their family because the CPS basically deemed that they were endangering this child's life. Well, now courts have actually ruled in the family's favor. I have a very similar story, except for this takes place up in Canada, not in California. The people that you're going to meet during this interview that I did spoke from the heart, and this isn't going to be some pretty news interview where there's going to be a set question and then here's going to be a set response. They're going to tell a story during this interview. The people that you're going to see in it, first of all, the father's name is Andrew, the sister's name is Kasha, the aunt's name is Rochelle, and the uncle's name is Chris. These 4 people are in this interview, and they all speak very candidly on what they believe happened, and they have the evidence to back it up. So I hope that you guys take the full time to watch this interview. There's tons of emotions that took place during this interview, and I think by the end of this we're all going to have a sense of what needs to get done, and I think we'll all know that answer. So without any further ado.
My name is Andrew. I was married to Nancy. I can't be specific. My name is Andrew Szczepanski. Our marriage didn't work out. We went through a lot of rocky stuff, which means that we kind of were in a way that I didn't drink. She was an alcoholic and I was trying to help her out. We had a breakup in our relationship through the whole entire marriage. Some of the breakup were for a year at the time. I decided finally when I used to work overnight shift, and what happened is that one night I came there and basically Kasha and Landon were by themselves and the mother was not there, which Nancy basically didn't come home at all. And at that time Landon was only 5 years old. And what happens is that I decided, you know what, the time is over, I'm just gonna leave. Then I basically left. I moved out to my parents because I used to, at that time we used to basically own 2 houses in BC and we used to build 2 houses in Edmonton, in Alberta, in Canada. And what happened is that that first I moved out and Kasha followed me. I moved out to my parents. She followed me after 2 weeks, and Kasha moved with me to my parents. About a month and a half after, Landon, even though he was only 5 years old at that time, he asked Nancy to drive him to my parents on occasions and just basically to visit me. Then one time he said that he wants to stay with me, he doesn't want to go back. Then you can see that there's a decision made by him. I didn't brainwash him because I didn't have access to him at that time. He just basically missed his sister and me, and he maybe misses his grandparents as well, and he decided to stay by himself at age 5, which is quite kind of different. We didn't have, me and Nancy, we didn't have lawyers for the first part of the 2008. She got her lawyer in 2009. I got my lawyer because I was forced basically to get my lawyer by the court. The minute she filed the divorce in 2009, I basically was forced by the court to have the lawyer as well. I had no other choice. And what happens is that we had a exchange of kids without the lawyers, and it kind of worked out that the kids wanted to basically live with me. I really didn't brainwash them. My parents, obviously, you know, they didn't like Nancy, because what happened is that, I gotta be honest with you, she caused a lot of problems. The last problems that she caused, it was at my dad's birthday party. She showed up there and she got drunk, and that's some of the pictures are showing there, and she ruined the whole birthday party, you know, and all her friends, all my parents' friends knew Nancy, and because of their relationship with me. And what happens is that my parents just dislike her, and the way they talk about her, maybe they had a, you know, everybody thought that it had a bad effect on kids, but the kids didn't like her in the first place because they left her by themselves anyway, you know, without any of the brainstorming, like everybody says. Everybody thinks that they brainstorm the kids, but really not. That was not the case. And what happens is, right after that, we went through a lot of problems in court. Kids got the lawyers, because when I went to the court, they said that the kids need to have the lawyer. And the lawyer got appointed from the justice system. Basically appointed a few lawyers, and then you can pick your own lawyers. I was basically forced to get lawyer from the government, because she filed for divorce, and I was told by the judge that I have to get the lawyer as well. Then basically I was looking for a lawyer, and I found one. It was, you know, through my mom, someone that she knew. This lawyer didn't really work out. She was kind of a meditation lawyer, and mediator, which means she would basically mediate between two lawyers or two people to try to get somewhere.
She was like a negotiator for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah, but this was not really good on this, in this particular case, because there was a lot to deal with. There was 2 kids and so on, right? The kids at that time, they were living with me. Up to the time they were living with me, we basically, I had a communication with my ex-wife. At any time she wanted to have kids, she can have it. At any time she can, like, if Kasia wants to go or if Landon wants to go, they can go and see her anytime. There was no restriction really made. I was kind of trying to cooperate on this part. The same with all the money issues. She was asking for all kinds of money to take from the banks and to give it to her in a way that she's going to be honest enough to that I can claim this after, that I actually give it to her, and that we can, you know, work this out, that this didn't happen as well, you know, after, you know, whatever happened. What I can say that is that up to 2011, when things were starting to go really bad, when actually the lawyers and the judges got involved into this, and they was forcing Landon to go back all the time, exchange back and forth, back and forth. In a way of exchange, it worked that was not exchangeable on his terms. That was exchangeable on the terms of Nancy. Whatever she decide, that's what it's supposed to be. She didn't listen to him, or she didn't listen, you know, whatever I wanted to say.
So the courts, in essence, took away Landon's opinion on anything, on where he wanted to be. They decided they knew better than Landon himself.
Exactly. And Landon, really, he got a lawyer, the same like Kasia. And Kasia can after tell that her lawyer was, you know, really unhelpful for her, not listening to her, not trying to solve any problems of any kind. She was just basically kind of useless. A lawyer from the government that really is not going to do anything about the
Okay,
kids.
well,
Okay.
with the court order, like, I don't know if it was a court order, but we're not supposed to have contact with Landon. Neither of us. We're not supposed to be 200 meters within Landon's school, 200 meters within Nancy's home, or 200 meters within Nancy's mother's home.
And that goes for everybody in the family, okay? Even though the family, most of the family, my mom and dad and Kasha, they weren't even involved, but it got applied collectively to everybody, right?
But yet one of our family members lives within 200 meters within the school. And another of our cousins, he goes to the same school as Landon.
And we explained this to the judge, but the judge kind of, he totally ignored it.
But when Landon...
There's no talking to him at all when it comes about that, you know.
But when Landon ran away, he... well, we got to the point where they were forcefully removing him from the home, and they showed you the pictures, right?
Yeah.
They were taking him down the stairs, and they eventually put him into the police car. The police then talked to all of us and told us, you know what did they say?
I don't know. What do you remember?
I don't remember. I just remember them telling us.
They just said, they basically just said
right.
after the whole incident, the cops said that, you know, their hands are tied and, you know, all this
Can't really do
BS
much.
that because of this court order, they have to follow it. Even though they take an oath to protect people, right? Even though this is neglect of duty, what they do. And they covered it all up afterwards.
And they said that they were going to write something to help us out, but they never did that.
No, they never. They never helped
every
you out
incident
with
that the police was involved there, they were saying that they're gonna help us out and they're gonna do everything for us. It's just like
every single
in
time they would
a
say,
perfect
But we've
dream,
never
an
seen
American
them.
dream, you know, that they're gonna help you out, they're there to protect you and so on. But actually, they're the one who's gonna harm you.
"Yeah, exactly."
You know, this is actually the other way around. And you know, for all the Americans and Canadians, watch out, because they're the one who actually is gonna end up hurting you.
criminals
And
with bad.
that's why there's a lot of things going wrong, because people actually have the misconception. They think that the police is there to help them, but they're, you know, but they will. People should try to avoid, you know, police, right?
So basically, what you guys just described was, in case people were confused, Landon was not allowed to come over to your guys' house anymore. One day, Kasha came home from school with her younger brother, and you opened the door and you found Landon there. Now, Landon has had a history of running away from Nancy and either going over to Chris's house or back home or to other places. He just wanted to leave.
Sometimes he even goes to gas stations, and I really don't think this is like safe. He'll be by himself in areas, and we'll get like strange calls from what are those payphones? Sorry, from payphones or like stores, and he'll be calling us saying like, "Oh, can you come pick me up?" And then we'll go pick him up, which is really not safe. Like he runs away, but Nancy's not watching him, and here he is putting his life in danger all the time.
Right.
And this isn't like the first time he's run away. Like December 16th wasn't the first time. He ran away a couple times after that too. And like, why aren't they doing nothing? Like, the court should realize that, you know what, his running away, this is not good. Like, something must be wrong. But yet they just ignore it, and they just say, you know what, it's the Strapansky family's fault. They're influencing him. They're talking to him. But yeah, we have no contact to him at all.
So kind of pick up from on the 16th, you came home and you saw Landon, your younger brother, at the house. So basically go from there.
Well, I saw him at the house. Well, I came home, I saw him there. We were talking, we caught up a little bit, and then the police came knocking at the door. once the police were knocking at the door, they were saying, you know what, let us in. We have a court order. You have to let us in. And I told them, you know what, no, my parents aren't here, and I don't want to really let you in. So then they said, you know, we're going to have to forcefully let ourselves in. And I was like, you want, no, can we just wait till my dad gets here? And eventually they got to the point where they were banging on the door, and they're saying, you know what, we're going to forcefully let us in, so let us in now, or we're not going to have to, you know, forcefully let us in. So I called my dad, and he didn't answer, so I called Chris, and he answered, and he was on his way right away. He showed up there. They told him that, you know what, we're going to, like, we want to forcefully open the door. Can you just tell her to open the door? And he's like, you know what, no, this isn't my daughter. You have to call, what's it called? You have to call her dad. And he can let her in. He can let you guys in. So after that, my dad eventually came over, like, afterwards. But before that, they were, like, knocking on the door. And I eventually opened the door, and they showed me the court order. And they said, you know what, like, they waved it in my face, and they're like, you know what, let us in. We have to grab Landon. So they shoved themselves in. They pushed me to the side, and then they walked through, tried to find Landon. They're like, where's Landon? I'm just like, I don't know. And then they found him, brought him to the couch, sat him down, talked to him, told him that, you know what, you have to go to Nancy's. This is a court order. You have to go. And then he complained about it. He said, you know what, I don't want to go, and I don't feel safe. I want to stay here with my family. And then after that, he told them that, you know what, I'm not going. I'm staying here. Then the police, they came to him, like, one of the police officers came to him, sat by him, and said, you know, we're going to have to take you, and I know you don't like it, but you're going to have to go. And then one of the other police officers went to slowly start collecting his things, and they told him to get ready. They're going, and he said, you know, I'm not going. And then they're pulling him, and then Landon held on to me, and they were going to, like, take him out. So, like, not take him out, like, take him out of the house. So then they took him, and they're, like, pulling him and telling him, you know, we have to go. And then after that, one of the police officers came and, like, helped him, and we both, like, they pulled us off, and then we both stood up off the couch, and Justin was still sitting down. And then after the other police officer was pulling, and then I was holding Justin, and then they pushed me and Justin away, and they took Landon. They were like pulling him out of the hallway into the building. And then after, once they probably got out of the house, I was still inside, and the police officer was slowly walking out, and I was walking after the police officer. And the other police officer was holding Landon, taking him, and Landon was holding onto the walls, trying to resist. And then Chris seen it, and he tried to help out, and one of the police officers pushed him away, and then they were taking him downstairs, and then my dad came, and they pushed him away, and he was like, you know what, like, you guys shouldn't be doing this, you're hurting him. Landon started to cry, he was screaming. I couldn't really do much because I was with Justin. And then after that, they were in the hallway. Then I went down the stairs, and I saw Faye, my dad's girlfriend. And then she was like wondering. She was asking me what was going on. I explained to her that, you know what, they're forcefully taking Landon away. Then they got him downstairs, and they're bringing him outside the doors, and they brought him to the police car. And then after, they came back, and they started talking to us.
So then, Chris, why don't you tell your part of it too? After Akasha called you, she called you because she was scared, she didn't know what to do, and then you came over and you basically wanted to witness it.
Yes, Rochelle and I, we lived maybe 2 or 3 minutes away from their apartment at the time, and Kasha called me. I received a phone call from her. And, you know, I'm always concerned about the police because we all hear what the cops do, right? So I went over there, and the 2 cops, one of them was, I'm just looking at this paper here. One of them was Constable Marsh, and the other one was Constable Henning. And then I went to the door. I went straight to the door, and they stopped me and they said, "What are you doing here? You're interfering with our investigation," and some other stuff they told me. Well, they told me to tell Kasia to open the door. And I told them, you know what? I'm not her parent. I can't tell her what to do. I can't tell her to open the door because she's alone. She needs to have a parent present. And so they eventually they got on the phone with Andrew and told me to talk to Andrew to tell Kasia to open the door. And eventually Kasia did open the door, and she said that she wasn't letting them in until her father comes back home, who was on the way. And they knew he was on the way because they were on the phone with him. And one of the cops, it was Constable Henning, or I think it was the Constable Henning, he put his foot between the door and the door frame so that Kasia couldn't close the door, because she tried closing the door, but she couldn't. And he wasn't going inside, but he was keeping his foot in the door. And eventually this Sergeant Goodkey arrived at some point, and he told me to wait outside of the what do you call it? Like a corridor,
Yeah.
and there was a door leading into the corridor from the staircase, and so they told me to wait outside behind the door. So I complied. You know, what are you gonna do if the cops tell you to do something? You have to follow, or else you're gonna go to jail, right? So I complied, whatever, and that Sergeant Goodkey at some point he said, well, we have this court order and we're going to enforce this court order and we're going inside. And they went inside. I stayed outside. I don't know what happened inside. And then a few minutes later, maybe 5, maybe so minutes later, Andrew arrived. I do remember that Andrew was there when they were coming out of the apartment with Landon, and they told Andrew and told me to stay out of it or we're gonna get arrested. So Andrew was sort of pacing back and forth because he didn't know what to do, right? His child is being manhandled by these cops, and I think he didn't know what to do. He was just pacing back and forth trying to tell them to stop hurting him, right? And at that time I was just taking pictures. Whatever pictures I could take. At some point, they came out into the staircase where I was, and that Sergeant Goodkey, as you can see in one of the photos, he actually pushed Andrew against the wall and said, "Stay out of it, or I'm gonna arrest you." When that Henning character, he was holding Landon and basically pulling him up by one of his arms, and Landon was crying and screaming and, you know, trying to be free of this criminal, right? And then at some point that Sergeant Goodkey came at me. He tried to knock my camera out of my hand, and then he grabbed my arm, right? Twisted my arm and said, "You stay in this corner or I'm gonna arrest you," right? And then what happened was he was holding me back with my twisted arm, and then the other officer, that Constable Henning, he had Landon, and he was pulling Landon down the stairs, because you were what, 3rd floor?
Yeah.
He was living on the 3rd floor at the time. So there was quite a bit of stairs, and Landon was screaming and yelling the whole time and trying to set himself free from these people, right? And we were basically powerless to do anything. And then after they got him into the car, into the cop car, they came back to talk to us, and that's when they said, "Oh, you know, our hands are tied. We can't really do anything because of this court order, because of this." And this other cop, this Constable Marsh, he actually started crying with Andrew, because Andrew started crying, and this Marsh, Constable Marsh, started crying, and Kasia was crying, and you know, it was just horrible what happened. And then they gave us their business cards, and they said, you know, sorry, basically sorry about what happened, but this is what we do. You know, we have to enforce court orders, whatever it takes, we just have to do it. And then, you know, and then a few days later, a couple days later, Landon ran away again, because this happened on Friday, December 16th, and then on Sunday, he ran away again, and there was another cop involved.
Where did he end up at on that Sunday? Where did Landon run to?
I don't know, because by the time I came to Andrew's house, he was already at the hospital, because Andrew took him to the hospital as Landon apparently had some injuries from the Friday before. And I guess he also said that he had injuries from the grandmother too, from Nancy's mother. But I don't know. I didn't talk to him. He you know, I talked to the cop that showed up on Sunday, because I came to Andrew's house, and the cop came, and I was there, and Andrew was there, and Kasia was there, and Landon was at the hospital with Faye at the time, right, Kasia?
Landon was at the hospital, and
With
he was
Faye,
yeah.
right?
He was like waiting there for the results and stuff, because he was saying that his grandmother, Kokom, like Nancy's mom, was hitting him, and she was manhandling him, and I think there was some influence of the police manhandling him too. So he was waiting there, and the police officer, I think, met up with us there as well. And he was talking to us. He was talking to you mostly. So do you want to come? So he was talking to you?
Just a second. Because I just want to talk. I just want to finish what I was saying. So after this whole incident, we went to, like I said, we went to the lawyer. We went to see the lawyer a couple of weeks later. But from this letter that the lawyer sent to the chief of police, you know, if you actually read this letter, he says, "I do not see the mention of Sergeant Goodkey in the Freedom of Information Act disclosure we obtained, but my client gave me the card that Sergeant Goodkey gave to him. I see that on the chronology, that the event chronology regimental number, which is Goodkey's, he was en route at 5:19 and arrived at 5:25 p.m. on scene." And then he says this was before the child was forcibly removed from the home. So he arrived before, which is documented on my pictures, that he's there before they actually enter the apartment. He's there, and he actually gives the order to go inside, this Sergeant Goodkey, which there's no mention of him in any of these reports, right? And he actually said that we have this court order and we're going to enforce it. So then the lawyer says, according to the FOIP Act disclosure, Goodkey has no notes
and no report, and this is in breach of Edmonton Police Service policy. So there is no mention of him. And
so Goodkey and the two other police kind of omitted him from their police reports. Then why do you think they wanted to leave him out of it? Did he just because he was the guy in charge, or why?
Because I think that he's a criminal. Honestly, because of his rap sheet, right? He has a long rap sheet, and if you actually read this letter from our lawyer to the chief, it says right in here, Goodkey was sued by David Strepchuk on an incident that occurred on July 19th, 1998, in relation to his use of force and an allegation of malicious prosecution. And then it says that the chief can ask his legal advisor section about the outcome of that litigation. I would actually be very interested to find out what the outcome of this litigation was. And then he goes on to say, Goodkey was also the subject of a complaint in 2002 related to an unlawful strip search. Okay? And then another paragraph, he, along with a number of other tactical members, were sued by Robert Taillefer for events which occurred on August 20th, 2003. And then another line is, on November 17th, 2004, he received an official warning for insubordination. I mean, this guy, it doesn't even stop. Then on December 15th, 2004, he was found guilty of discreditable conduct and received 20 hours of suspension. I'd like to find out if this suspension was with pay.
I'm guessing it probably was.
I'd like to know. And then on December 15, he says the December 15, 2004 matter was a very serious one. I enclose a copy of the transcript of the proceedings of December 15, 2004. I'd like to see the transcript because I never received the transcript of these proceedings. I'd like to read this because this is ridiculous.
So,
in November 2005, he pled guilty to another offense and received 20 hours suspension. Another 40 hours suspension.
So it's pretty clear they had a motive for keeping Goodkey out of the report, just because he has a long history of using excessive force. Now, are we saying that was Goodkey the one, or was it Henning that was the cop that was holding Landon's arm and dragging him out on the 16th?
It was Henning that was dragging. Landon out. However, it was Goodkey that was in charge. He was the sergeant. He came later, and he actually gave the order to go inside the home.
So there's a reason why they're trying to cover him up and keep him out of the picture, because he's had a long history of doing the wrong things, and this is definitely following in line with that, where he's definitely overstepped his bounds and done things he shouldn't have done. Okay.
Absolutely.
So we have a court system that won't listen to you. It's completely against you. You have the police that are outright liars. The reports that you showed me those, I've seen copies now of the reports, they're basically identical, and yet both of them omit Goodkey. You have a absolutely evil person in Nancy who is lying, doing anything she can to make Andrew look like a terrible person, and in reality she has no right to tell Landon where he should go or where he shouldn't go when he has a perfectly able father there who could take care of him, who's not going to put him in an abusive situation, whether Nancy hit him or not. Landon has said that Nancy's mother has hit him repeated times. There's no alcoholism with Andrew. There's actual parenting skills that take place with Andrew. I see no reason why Landon shouldn't be with Andrew. He has a loving family there that is supporting him and that just want him to be happy. And I assume, and the way that Andrew made it sound, is that he would be okay with Landon spending time with Nancy as long as Landon was happy there and he was safe there. He just wants Landon to be happy and safe, unfortunately, he does not receive either of those while he's with Nancy. So therefore, he wants him to be with him so he can protect him and be there for him.
No, and you know, there is also information that trickles down from us because Landon the school that he used to go to, his cousin used to go to also, so they would talk, and then you know, the cousin would tell us things that Landon would tell him, and he would say, you know, my mother keeps me under lock and key, for instance. She put a key on his room. She put a key on the house so he wouldn't run away. Like an alarm, and apparently now, you know, all this information comes out. I don't know if you had a chance to read that Facebook page, but the landlady that was in charge of the building that Nancy was living at, apparently she said that she was living in such conditions that no child should be living in those conditions, right? We're trying to get a hold of that lady now because we'd like to. Yeah, she wouldn't take him to his extracurricular activities like Polish school, Polish dance, scouts. She wouldn't take him to any of those activities because there was a potential that he would have contact with us, right? Which is ridiculous. I mean, you're basically cutting this kid off from everything he knows, and you're isolating him. And this is a system that actually supports that. It's ridiculous. But coming back to this cop, right? It says, the lawyer writes, force was used as the photographs show. So because I have the evidence, you know, we can actually prove to them that they did something wrong, these cops. Because if I wasn't there with the camera and I wouldn't have taken those pictures, nothing would have been done about it at all. Not even an internal investigation. But because of those pictures, because we sent these pictures to city councilors right after this happened, because even in the letter you can see that he writes that the EPS has an email from my client to Councillor Anderson dated December 19th. So this is 3 days after this happened. We sent some emails to the councillors of our city, which were obviously forwarded to the chief or to the internal investigator, right? So anyway, he writes, force was used as the photographs show on both Chris and Landon, which was not documented or was inadequately documented in breach of EPS policy, Edmonton Police Service policy. And then he says, I have a hard time understanding why Constable Phelan, Constable Phelan is the guy that responded to this Sunday, 2 days after he came. He says, would have returned Landon to his mother after Landon showed injuries and stated that his mother and grandmother has assaulted him. Please consider this to be a complaint of neglect of duty. Because it is. You know, this is totally neglect of duty, and it's a classic case of a cover-up. They covered up their crimes because they were involved in criminal activity here, these cops. You know? It's just, I don't know, but like I said on my video, I have zero confidence in the system. I basically think that everything is so corrupted to the core that nothing will be done, unless we can reach enough people with this, you know. But I have no confidence in the system, right? That anything will be done in this matter.
There's definitely a precedent shown that the system is designed to fail. True justice is not really out there sometimes. We need justice in numbers, and that's what I hope we can get out of this video, is enough people share this video and we pressure the correct people, whether it's to get a different judge, a different opinion on there, and some actual true investigative police work done into the investigation of the 3 police that you dealt with. I'm not saying that these police are good people. They might just be enforcing something. They might be getting pressured from someone even above just the ground, like the ground floor policeman, just the standard policeman. They might be getting pressure from somebody else, but we need to pressure them to do the right thing, to come out and tell the truth on it.
Absolutely. I totally feel that sure, they have an order, right? They are cops and they are given an order, but they also have a choice. They also have a choice to say, no, I will not follow this order because I feel that this order is unethical, right? It is unethical for me to harm this child in this manner, especially that we told them, stop hurting Landon. Stop hurting him. We can do this in another way. Before, you know, when they needed to take Landon, Andrew would actually cooperate and say, you know, I'm going to try to convince him. I'm going to work with you guys. You know, even though I don't really want to do this, I don't want to force my child to go with his alcoholic mother, right? I'm going to work with you guys so that my son doesn't get...
I only did this because when I talked to Justice Lee from court in Edmonton and Justice Brownie, which is a woman, they're trying to they were trying to convince everybody that if you cooperate, then something's gonna come out from this. And I was trying always to cooperate with the police and trying to make sure that Landon is happy, that he can go, maybe not happy, but kind of not stressed out, right, to the finished. That he's really stressed out, that he's going to remember this for life. I was just trying to avoid this, you know, and that's why I was trying always to cooperate, because I was trying to follow those, you know, those guys who are actually in charge, the judges, right?
But it's ridiculous because these bureaucrats, they think that they know what's best for your child, what's best for you. They think they know, even though they know nothing about you. Because that's essentially what it is. They know nothing about us, right? Except for what they hear for an hour every couple months. Because that's essentially what his divorce was all about. He would show up to court for an hour every couple months, and that's all they would know. And then she would move on to somebody else, the judge, right?
You know, this is crazy. Whatever I have to go, I don't want to even leave here. To me, this is not a safe place. This is a safe place for criminal people who enjoy their criminal activity with the government. All two are connected, you know, police.
Criminals with a badge and a costume. That's what
yeah, and you know, all those guys in court, I mean, they protect themselves. That's why they have the police, to protect themselves. Well, they're not protect us.
The only thing that we can really do is try to bring as much light to this as possible, and hopefully get enough people to pressure the people in power to do the right thing. I mean, you can't go out and really go and be your own vigilante and take justice into your own hands.
Exactly.
Physically.
No, you can't.
Because then all you're doing is you're following and doing their same things that they're basically doing. They believe what they're doing is right. Whether it's right or not, in their mind, they're doing what they think is right. They're on power trips and ego trips the whole time when they're doing this. But what we need to do is try to get as many people knowledgeable on this issue, and hopefully the right person up above these people realizes what's happening, because how a lot of this happens is it's a disconnection on communication. The person that's overseeing a lot of this doesn't actually know what's going on, because he's getting spoon-fed a different story from the judge, from Justice Lee, or from Good Key, or from all these other cops, from the psychologists. They're not getting the whole story, and that's where it comes to us. We need to make sure that they do get that story. We could go on for days, probably with more instances and specifics on why we need to get Landon home where he belongs. But what we need to do is make sure that the people out there have the resources available, the pictures to them, the cell phone conversation in between Andrew and Nancy that absolutely blew me away on how she talks as a human being. She didn't sound like a human being. No one can be that evil. And she changed my mind on that. We need all the resources to be readily available out there, and you guys have done a good job about that, getting Chris, when you went and did that investigative interview with that investigative person from law enforcement. That's what we need to get out to the public. We need to get the letters out there. We need to get the police reports out there. And you guys have done a good job getting that to megaupload.com. And I'll make sure that I get the links for everything on that down below in the description. Like I said, we could talk for days, probably weeks, about why we need to get Landon home. But that's where we need to move into action and start by doing that, by spreading the information and getting more people enlightened on the issue. Because you'd be amazed how there might be someone who's super powerful out there that can make a difference. And if all he needs is the information, he or she to get this information, the tide might change and actually go in the right direction. You could get Landon home sooner than later.
Yeah,
I agree.
That
I
would be
agree,
nice.
Matt.
So,
Yeah, I agree with that too, you know.
Thank you for interviewing us.
hey, welcome back, everyone. And after watching that interview, you just can't help but feel the emotion like it actually happened to you and your family. To have a son or a brother taken away from you, or a nephew taken away from you like that, it's unbearable. You want to do whatever you can to make sure that you right that wrong and you get him back in your life, and he is happy and he is safe. It's not about him being in your life. It's about him being happy and being in a safe environment. And I believe that being back with his family is best for that situation. What we need to do now is make sure that we spread this story, that everyone goes to the links in the description and you check it out for yourself. You watch the interviews that took place at the police station, that you look at the photos of the situation that took place, that you see the photo of the cop grabbing Landon by his arm and dragging him out. Everything that they talked about in this interview, there's evidence towards. I believe when you guys listen to the phone conversation with Andrew and his ex-wife Nancy, you're going to be shocked. It will change your views on how you actually believe human people can act, and it's scary. So I hope that you guys do what you can. Try to get this out to as many people as possible. Check out the links. There's a Facebook link down below for a Facebook page. We need to get the correct people pressured into doing the right thing, whether it's a new judge or somebody up there at the police station. We need the right thing to happen, and we need justice to be served, not for the family of Landon, but for Landon's sake himself. So for now, I ask that you guys please thumbs up this video, share it with friends and family. If you're new to my videos, make sure you click that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all the current political news. As always, I'm Matt Larson. Go run, Paul. Peace.